It has been 2 months since Donald Trump defeated his opponent to become the next president of the United States. Can America under Trump, a man who does not like war, and has affirmed that he will not start wars and will prevent wars, and the tense armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine? The Russia-Ukraine conflict has reached a critical turning point, and Donald Trump's unexpected peace proposal could reshape the entire geopolitical landscape. As we analyze the situation, it's becoming clear that Trump's Ukraine strategy might achieve what years of sanctions and military pressure couldn't accomplish. We're witnessing a unique moment where Trump's plan for a Russia-Ukraine peace deal could fundamentally alter the power dynamics in Eastern Europe. Our analysis reveals how this peace plan, combined with Russia's mounting economic pressures and military challenges, might lead to significant changes in Moscow's position. Through this comprehensive examination, we'll explore why Trump's proposed approach could potentially trigger a chain of events leading to Russia's strategic retreat from its current stance. Trump's bold vision for Ukraine peace. We are witnessing an unprecedented approach to peace negotiations as Donald Trump's advisors unveil a comprehensive framework aimed at ending the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. This bold and multifaceted vision brings together numerous strategic proposals and pragmatic elements designed to create a path toward stability. At the heart of Trump's proposed peace plan is the creation of an expansive 800-mile buffer zone to separate Russian and Ukrainian forces. This ambitious measure seeks to freeze the current battle lines, effectively halting hostilities and providing a foundation for lasting stability. To ensure the integrity of the buffer zone, European and British troops would take on the role of peacekeepers, marking a significant shift in responsibility away from direct U.S. military involvement. Moreover, under the framework, Ukraine would agree to postpone its NATO membership aspirations for the next 20 years, an element intended to address a core Russian grievance. Trump's team also introduces a new dynamic to negotiations: the provision of conditional military aid, tying future assistance to the willingness of both sides to engage in diplomatic discussions. What sets this strategy apart from prior approaches is its innovative carrot-and-stick methodology, applying pressure on both Russia and Ukraine to come to the table. Trump's advisors propose a dual pressure system that would threaten to suspend U.S. military aid to Kyiv if it refuses to participate in negotiations, while simultaneously signaling the possibility of increasing aid if Moscow resists diplomatic overtures. This framework fundamentally redefines the U.S. role in the conflict, advocating for European nations, particularly Germany, France, the UK, and Poland, to assume leadership in maintaining and policing the buffer zone. Such a shift represents a strategic recalibration, with Europe taking on greater security responsibilities while the United States remains an influential but secondary player. Although Trump has famously claimed he could resolve the conflict within 24 hours, his advisory team is presenting a more realistic and phased timeline. They recognize that implementing a viable peace plan will require careful coordination and sustained diplomatic efforts. This phased approach would likely begin with an initial ceasefire, followed by the establishment of the buffer zone and the gradual implementation of security guarantees. Adjustments to military aid would occur in parallel, depending on progress made in negotiations and commitments from both sides. The framework draws upon 3 distinct proposals put forth by key figures in Trump's advisory circle. Retired General Keith Kellogg advocates freezing the current front lines, with weapons support contingent on negotiation efforts. Senator J.D. Vance proposes the establishment of a demilitarized zone along the existing battle lines, a measure aimed at ensuring immediate separation of forces. Meanwhile, former Ambassador Richard Grenell introduces the concept of creating autonomous zones in eastern Ukraine, offering a potential compromise to address territorial disputes while preserving Ukraine's overall sovereignty. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has expressed a cautious openness to negotiations but remains firm on key principles, particularly the preservation of Ukraine's territorial integrity and the need for robust security guarantees. This stance highlights the challenges that lie ahead. Achieving consensus on such a sweeping peace initiative will require delicate diplomatic maneuvering and significant compromises from all parties involved. As Trump's team continues to refine its proposals, the plan signals a significant departure from current policies and reflects a calculated vision for resolving one of the world's most pressing geopolitical crises. Whether this ambitious framework can achieve its goals will depend on its ability to balance the interests of Ukraine, Russia, and the broader international community while navigating the complexities of war and peace. Russia's economic vulnerabilities. As analysts examine Russia's economic data, they are increasingly seeing clear signs of strain, which makes former President Donald Trump's peace plan more relevant than ever. The transformation of Russia's economy into a war machine has created unprecedented vulnerabilities, and understanding these shifts is crucial in assessing the potential effectiveness of peace proposals. One of the most striking developments is the extraordinary shift in Russia's economic priorities, particularly the dramatic increase in military spending. The Russian government has now allocated roughly 40% of its national budget to fund the war effort. In 2023, military spending is projected to exceed 10% of the country's GDP, an amount that starkly contrasts with defense spending figures in other countries, such as the UK's, which stands at just 2.3%. This unprecedented spending on military operations highlights the growing economic burden that the war is imposing on Russia, making it a crucial factor in the country's overall financial health. Additionally, the international sanctions imposed by the West have had a significant impact, though they have not yet led to a total collapse of Russia's economy. In 2022, Russia's GDP contracted by 2.1%, reflecting the strain of these sanctions. Moreover, approximately 300 billion euros of Russian central bank reserves have been blocked by the EU and its partners, a severe blow to the country's financial stability. Around 70% of assets within the Russian banking system are now under sanctions, making international trade and finance increasingly difficult for Russia. This is compounded by the downturn in the oil sector, which has long been the backbone of Russia's economy. In February 2023, Russian oil revenues saw a staggering decline of over 40% compared to the previous year, signaling deep challenges in this critical industry. Internally, Russia is grappling with mounting economic pressures that extend beyond the military and sanctions. One of the most alarming trends is the significant strain on the country's civilian infrastructure and its human capital. Over 300,000 young professionals have left Russia, fleeing the economic and political instability. The tech sector, which has been one of the most vibrant parts of Russia's economy, has also suffered, with over 50,000 IT specialists emigrating. Furthermore, approximately 70% of Russia's municipal infrastructure is reported to be in a state of decay, further exacerbating the strain on the country's civilian life. The civilian economy is now bearing the brunt of these changes. A notable shift is evident as the government reallocates resources, diverting funds away from social spending in favor of military expenditures. Recent polls have shown that 35% of Russians have experienced a decrease in their standard of living over the past 2 years, a telling sign of how the ongoing conflict has impacted the everyday lives of citizens. These economic vulnerabilities are especially significant when viewed in the context of Trump's peace plan. The unsustainable nature of Russia's current economic model is becoming more apparent with each passing day. The costs of reconstructing the territories occupied by Russian forces could range from $100 billion to $200 billion, a figure that adds further strain to an already overstretched budget. On top of that, daily war expenses are estimated to range between $500 million and $1 billion, underscoring the tremendous financial burden Russia faces. The combination of high inflation rates, above 7%, and interest rates at 16%, has contributed to an environment where the economic foundation supporting Russia's war effort is showing increasing signs of stress. With these mounting pressures, Russia may find itself more receptive to peace proposals that offer a way out of the financial and geopolitical crisis it faces. Trump's peace initiative could very well present an opportunity for Russia to reconsider its position, especially as the costs of continuing the conflict become ever more unsustainable. Military technology shift. An analysis of the current military technology landscape reveals a dramatic transformation that could make Donald Trump's proposed peace plan more appealing to both Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine's rapidly evolving military capabilities have reshaped battlefield dynamics, demonstrating their increasing reliance on Western technology and innovative strategies that place mounting pressure on Russian forces. Ukraine's military modernization has been nothing short of remarkable. The adoption of advanced Western systems has allowed Ukrainian forces to gain a distinct edge, with troops exhibiting exceptional adaptability. For instance, Ukrainian soldiers have required as little as 3 weeks to master complex systems such as the HIMARS rocket launchers, a testament to their ability to quickly integrate cutting-edge technology. Perhaps even more striking is Ukraine's pioneering approach to drone warfare. In 2023 alone, Ukrainian forces deployed 100,000 small drones to the front lines, revolutionizing reconnaissance and precision attacks. Looking ahead to 2024, Ukraine has set an ambitious target to produce a staggering 1 million drones, a move that could further enhance its battlefield superiority. The widening technological disparity between NATO's supplied equipment and Russia's aging systems has also become increasingly evident. Western contributions have provided Ukraine with significant strategic advantages. HIMARS systems capable of striking targets up to 80 kilometers away with pinpoint accuracy have played a critical role in Ukrainian operations. Additionally, the delivery of long-range Storm Shadow cruise missiles, with a reach of up to 550 kilometers, has given Ukraine the ability to strike deeper into Russian-held territory. Meanwhile, advanced air defense systems such as Patriot and Avenger batteries offer vital protection against missile and aerial threats, enabling Ukraine to blunt Russia's offensive capabilities. Backed by more than $100 billion in military aid from Western nations, Ukraine's counteroffensive operations have become more effective, bolstered by superior equipment and advanced training. In contrast, Russia's military infrastructure is showing increasing signs of strain, a factor that highlights the timeliness of Trump's peace initiative. The Kremlin is confronting serious challenges in maintaining its war machine as equipment shortages and production issues worsen. Russia's stockpiles of Soviet-era weapons are rapidly depleting, and its defense industry struggles to source critical materials needed to manufacture new systems. Compounding these difficulties is a labor shortfall within the defense sector, with an estimated 160,000 positions left unfilled across major arms manufacturers. The strain is further amplified by Russia's inability to sustain its intense use of artillery and armor. Despite firing artillery shells at a rate nearly 5 times that of Ukraine, Moscow's domestic production remains insufficient to replace what is being consumed. The heavy toll on Russia's armored forces is particularly notable. In the past year alone, Russian troops have lost over 3,000 armored fighting vehicles, pushing total losses since February 2022 to nearly 8,800. While Russia has managed to reactivate some equipment, bringing an estimated 1,180 to 1,280 tanks and approximately 2,470 infantry fighting vehicles out of storage in 2023, this pace of replenishment is unlikely to be sustainable over the long term. The growing disparity in military capabilities between the two sides presents a compelling argument for Trump's proposed peace initiative. As Ukraine gains strength through Western technology and Russia grapples with mounting equipment shortfalls, the balance of power on the battlefield continues to shift. This evolving dynamic could push both parties to reconsider their positions and explore a negotiated resolution to the conflict. With Russia's resources under significant strain and Ukraine's military advantage expanding, the conditions may be emerging for meaningful diplomatic engagement to bring the war to an end. Putin's weakening grip. Significant cracks are beginning to emerge within Vladimir Putin's power structure, suggesting that internal and external pressures have placed his leadership under unprecedented strain. These developments make Trump's proposed peace initiative particularly timely, as the Russian president faces increasing challenges on multiple fronts. One of the most notable signs of dissent stems from the growing generational divide within Russian society. Young Russians, in particular, are exhibiting levels of defiance rarely seen before. Putin's approval rating among younger demographics has plummeted to its lowest point since polling began, signaling a deepening discontent. Despite severe crackdowns by authorities, over 16,400 Russians have been arrested for participating in anti-war demonstrations, a figure that reflects both the scale of the opposition and the public's willingness to resist. This discontent runs deeper than surface-level protests. Leaked government data has revealed a significant shift in public sentiment, with 44% of Russians expressing a preference for peace negotiations over continuing the war. In major urban centers like Moscow and St. Petersburg, this sentiment is even more pronounced, with residents demonstrating a stronger inclination toward ending the conflict. The combination of these factors underscores a growing domestic opposition that threatens the stability of Putin's rule. Compounding these challenges is the instability within Russia's military leadership, a development that further weakens Putin's authority. In recent months, the defense ministry has faced notable turmoil, including the removal of longtime Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and the high-profile arrests of Deputy Defense Minister Timur Ivanov on bribery charges. These incidents are part of a broader purge that has seen at least 5 senior defense officials arrested within a month. More troubling for Putin is the revelation that between 20% and 40% of the defense ministry's budget has been lost to corruption. This staggering level of mismanagement has not only eroded military effectiveness, but has also damaged morale among Russia's armed forces, creating yet another fracture in the Kremlin's foundations. The unrest within Putin's inner circle is further amplified by growing dissatisfaction among Russia's oligarchs. Prominent members of the country's wealthy elite have taken unprecedented steps to criticize the conflict, reflecting a level of discontent rarely seen in public forums. Mikhail Friedman, one of Russia's most influential businessmen, has openly called for an end to the tragedy and bloodshed. Similarly, Oleg Deripaska has urged for immediate peace negotiations, while Alexei Mordashov has lamented the war as a tragedy of fraternal peoples. Such statements from figures who have traditionally operated near the Kremlin suggest that frustration among Russia's economic elite is reaching a boiling point. These converging pressures, domestic dissent, military disarray, and oligarch opposition are placing Putin in an increasingly precarious position. With public sentiment shifting toward peace, systemic corruption weakening Russia's military operations, and key allies speaking out against the war, the cracks in Putin's leadership are widening. These vulnerabilities create a window of opportunity for diplomatic initiatives such as Trump's proposed peace plan. At a time when Putin's ability to maintain control is being tested on multiple fronts, the prospect of negotiations may become a more appealing option, both for the Kremlin and for a nation increasingly weary of war. Strategic benefits for Russia. The strategic advantages of Donald Trump's proposed peace plan for Russia are becoming increasingly apparent as the potential outcomes are examined in greater detail. With Russia's federal budget deficit soaring to approximately $30 billion, equivalent to around 10% of the national budget, a negotiated settlement could provide much-needed economic relief and help stabilize the country's struggling financial outlook. One of the most significant benefits for Russia under Trump's initiative lies in the potential easing of international sanctions. At present, Russia's economy is under immense strain from 8 comprehensive sanctions packages imposed by Western nations, which have severely restricted its ability to engage in global economic activities. Trump's peace plan, however, could pave the way for systematic sanctions relief, unlocking significant opportunities for recovery. This relief might include the restoration of Russian banks' access to the SWIFT global payment system, which would allow for smoother international transactions. Additionally, it could lead to the unfreezing of approximately €300 billion in Russian central bank reserves, currently held in the European Union and allied countries. Beyond these financial measures, the reopening of trade routes with key European partners and the removal of restrictions on technology imports could serve as major catalysts for economic revival. The potential for economic recovery under this framework is particularly compelling. Analysts suggest that multiple sectors of Russia's economy stand to benefit significantly from a negotiated peace settlement. Restored trade relations with European Union nations, which have seen a steep decline of 34% since 2022, could provide an immediate boost to Russia's export-driven industries. Similarly, energy exports, long the cornerstone of Russia's economy, could regain access to lucrative European markets, reviving a multi-billion-dollar revenue stream that has been significantly reduced by sanctions and market restrictions. Renewed access to Western technology and expertise, which has been cut off under existing sanctions, could also accelerate modernization efforts across various industries, from manufacturing to infrastructure development. Furthermore, the reintegration of Russian financial institutions into the global banking system would stabilize capital flows and restore investor confidence, bolstering Russia's economic resilience. Such measures could address Russia's increasingly dire economic outlook. Long-term growth projections currently hover at less than 1% annually, a stagnation driven by the war's heavy financial burden and isolation from the global economy. Trump's plan presents an opportunity to alleviate these pressures, particularly as the civilian economy continues to bear the brunt of Moscow's focus on military spending. Presently, nearly 70% of Russia's federal budget is being directed toward the war effort, leaving little room for critical social and economic development. A negotiated peace would allow for a reallocation of resources to essential civilian infrastructure, social programs, and domestic industries, offering relief to a population experiencing declining living standards and mounting economic hardship. In this context, Trump's peace plan provides a pragmatic pathway for Russia to address both immediate financial concerns and long-term economic challenges. By easing sanctions, restoring trade, and reintegrating Russia into the global economy, the plan could offer Moscow a crucial opportunity to recover from the economic disruptions caused by the war. For a nation grappling with budget deficits, stagnating growth, and mounting economic strain, the appeal of such a settlement becomes increasingly clear. Trump's proposed peace initiative presents the potential for a major reset in international relations, offering Russia what could be described as a smart exit from its current state of isolation. The plan outlines a pathway for reintegration into the global community, creating opportunities that could benefit not only Russia but also Europe and other international stakeholders. One of the most promising elements of the initiative lies in the possibility of financial reintegration. Russia currently faces severe restrictions in global financial markets, including exclusion from systems like SWIFT and limited access to critical technologies. Trump's peace plan, however, could facilitate what some experts call a measured restoration of financial and technological integration, a shift that aligns with Europe's strategic and economic interests as well. This reintegration becomes particularly significant when viewed against Russia's current alternatives. Without a negotiated settlement, Russia risks becoming almost entirely dependent on Chinese technology and markets while remaining disconnected from global financial systems. Such dependency would not only reduce Russia's geopolitical flexibility, but would also severely limit its long-term economic potential. Analysts are already warning that without a solution, Russia could face a decades-long conflict that would further erode its economy and global influence. Even a partial restoration of ties through Trump's framework could help avert such a scenario, offering Russia an opportunity to recover while maintaining greater independence. The timing for such a plan appears critical. Russia's state spending is projected to rise by 16% in 2024, a significant increase that will further strain an economy already burdened by war expenditures and international sanctions. As inflationary pressures mount and growth prospects remain stagnant, the risk of prolonged stagflation or recession looms large. Trump's peace initiative, by paving the way for economic relief and restoring financial ties, could provide Russia with an alternative to this precarious trajectory. Ultimately, the plan offers a strategic exit from isolation while presenting Russia with a more sustainable path forward. By avoiding complete economic reliance on China and re-engaging at least partially with the global financial and technological systems, Russia could find a way to mitigate its current challenges and stabilize its economic future. European security architecture. The European security landscape is undergoing a fundamental transformation, and we're witnessing the emergence of a new defense architecture that could complement Trump's peace initiative. NATO's unity has reached unprecedented levels, with the alliance showing remarkable cohesion in response to current challenges. Europe's defense posture is undergoing a profound transformation, particularly along NATO's eastern flank, as the alliance implements significant and groundbreaking changes to strengthen regional security. Central to these efforts is the development of a combat-credible allied response force capable of rapid deployment, alongside the integration of advanced air and missile defense systems. Additionally, NATO is enhancing coordination on emerging and disruptive technologies, ensuring it remains at the forefront of modern defense capabilities. A particularly notable shift lies in Europe's increasing commitment to its security. European nations are stepping up in ways not seen since the Cold War, with many substantially expanding their defense spending. Germany, for example, has made headlines with its historic €100 billion defense fund, signaling a significant departure from previous policies and underscoring the continent's resolve to fortify its defenses. NATO's evolving role has been equally remarkable. The alliance has transitioned from a reactive posture to a proactive strategy focused on deterrence. Experts describe this shift as deterrence by denial, a concept that prioritizes forward defense and robust preparedness to prevent aggression before it occurs. In this new framework, NATO has implemented measures such as maintaining a permanent presence on its eastern flank, enhancing forward defense capabilities, and developing multi-domain operations to ensure readiness across air, land, sea, cyber, and space domains. This strategic evolution complements the goals of Trump's proposed peace initiative by providing a strong and credible security framework that could support and sustain negotiated settlements. Regional stability mechanisms are also advancing in promising ways, with unprecedented levels of cooperation between international organizations such as the European Union and NATO. While these organizations have long operated in parallel, recent developments point to increasingly sophisticated coordination mechanisms aimed at improving crisis response capabilities, strengthening defense planning, and integrating air and missile defense networks. These measures are being paired with enhanced consultations between NATO and regional partners, ensuring a more unified approach to addressing security threats. At the same time, new regional frameworks are emerging as critical tools for stabilizing conflict-prone areas. Agreements such as the Luanda and Nairobi frameworks offer valuable models for bridging local initiatives with international action. These sub-regional solutions demonstrate how tailored approaches to regional stability can complement larger-scale security efforts, offering potential pathways for implementing Trump's peace plan on a broader scale. The European Union's role has also evolved in recent years, with the organization becoming increasingly active in contributing to peace and security through humanitarian assistance, development programs, and accountability measures for international law violations. This multifaceted strategy aligns well with NATO's military focus, creating a comprehensive security architecture that balances both hard power and soft power approaches to conflict resolution. These developments are particularly relevant to Trump's peace initiative because they offer the potential for long-term stability guarantees. The European security architecture's shift toward deterrence by denial ensures that future conflicts can be more effectively contained and deterred. By combining NATO's enhanced defense posture with the EU's evolving role, the emerging framework offers a sustainable model for maintaining regional stability, strengthening peace agreements, and preventing future escalation. As the European security landscape continues to adapt, it provides the necessary infrastructure to support and enforce negotiated settlements, making Trump's peace plan both timely and strategically viable. China's shifting position. As Trump's peace initiative gains momentum, we're witnessing a fascinating shift in China's position that could significantly influence the outcome. Beijing's calculations are becoming increasingly complex as it balances its strategic interests with economic realities. China's substantial economic interests in both Ukraine and Russia are playing a critical role in shaping its approach to peace negotiations. What stands out most is China's continued position as Ukraine's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade reaching $19.3 billion in 2021. This economic interdependence holds major implications, particularly in key sectors. Chinese investments in Ukrainian infrastructure have exceeded $6.6 billion in construction contracts, while Beijing remains one of Ukraine's largest buyers of grain, accounting for more than 20% of China's total grain imports that same year. At the same time, Chinese companies face growing scrutiny, as some have been implicated in aiding Russian firms to develop attack drones, risking EU sanctions. China's strategy toward the conflict has undergone a distinct realignment, which can be broken into three notable phases. Initially, Beijing embraced its no-limits friendship with Moscow, a stance that signaled a strong strategic partnership. However, as the war progressed, China recalculated its position and sought to establish itself as a mediator, launching efforts to promote peace through diplomatic proposals. Most recently, Beijing has reaffirmed its ties with Russia, though it has maintained enough diplomatic flexibility to present itself as a neutral broker. This nuanced stance highlights what analysts describe as China's two-hand strategy, a dual approach where Beijing balances hard-line alignment with Moscow while simultaneously engaging in conciliatory gestures toward the West and the global South. China's peace initiatives reflect this dual approach. Through mechanisms like the Friends for Peace group, Beijing has promoted ceasefire proposals alongside 17 countries from the global South. At the same time, its joint six-point plan with Brazil focuses on achieving a political resolution to the conflict. China's diplomatic outreach has also involved extensive shuttle diplomacy, engaging nations such as Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE in discussions aimed at stabilizing the situation. Economic considerations remain central to China's approach, as the war has created both significant challenges and new opportunities for Beijing. Strategically, China views Russia as a critical supplier of secure energy resources. Pipeline gas and oil flowing from Russia offer a more stable alternative to liquefied natural gas shipments, which pass through vulnerable routes like the Malacca Strait. This emphasis on energy security underscores Beijing's reluctance to sever ties with Moscow, despite the risks of association. At the same time, China's Belt and Road Initiative, which relies on trade routes through Ukraine, has been disrupted by the conflict, posing a strategic dilemma for Chinese leadership. Chinese state-owned enterprises are already positioning themselves to expand their stakes in Russian energy and agricultural companies, anticipating potential post-war opportunities. Furthermore, China holds enough grain reserves to sustain 1.5 years of domestic consumption, allowing it to navigate short-term disruptions while carefully evaluating long-term supply chain stability. This strategic opportunism, rather than ideological alignment with Russia, appears to be the driving force behind China's position. Beijing's leadership is focused on securing stable access to vital resources, safeguarding its existing investments in Ukraine, and avoiding Western sanctions that could undermine its economic ambitions. At the same time, China is calculating how Trump's peace proposal might impact its interests in both countries. The implications of China's stance are far-reaching. Beijing's support or opposition could significantly affect the success of Trump's peace initiative. China's leadership appears increasingly inclined toward a swift ceasefire, regardless of the specific conditions, as prolonged conflict risks destabilizing critical supply chains and disrupting China's economic goals. This preference for stability aligns with key elements of Trump's proposal, positioning China as a potential facilitator of peace if its strategic interests are adequately addressed. Ultimately, China's careful balancing act reflects its broader goal of maximizing economic and geopolitical advantages while mitigating risks in a rapidly shifting global landscape. Post-war power dynamics. The transformative impact of Trump's peace plan on post-war power dynamics is likely to be profound, particularly as large-scale reconstruction efforts begin to take shape. Our analysis reveals a complex interplay of economic and security arrangements that could redefine regional relationships and establish a new balance of power. The post-war landscape will look fundamentally different from current structures, with the G7 emerging as a central player. The group has committed to providing $50 billion through an initiative that aims to ensure Ukraine can maintain essential services and rebuild critical infrastructure. What makes this particularly significant is that these funds will be sourced from Russia's immobilized assets. The scale of Ukraine's recovery needs is staggering, with costs potentially reaching hundreds of billions of dollars for immediate recovery and exceeding $1 trillion for complete reconstruction. For 2023 alone, priority investments have already been estimated at $14 billion. New economic partnerships are beginning to emerge, reshaping regional relationships and laying the foundation for Ukraine's recovery. The Multi-Agency Donor Coordination Platform, established in January 2023, represents a groundbreaking approach to managing international support by aligning donor contributions and recovery initiatives. Notably, the Ukraine Business Compact is facilitating private sector investments, while the EU integration path is driving reforms necessary for Ukraine's accession to the European Union. What stands out most in this process is that Ukrainian ownership remains central. The Ukrainian government is tasked with setting all reconstruction priorities, ensuring that the recovery process is both sustainable and responsive to the country's needs. The security arrangements accompanying these economic frameworks are also evolving in a sophisticated, multi-layered manner. Trump's peace plan appears to align with Ukraine's growing security needs, which increasingly focus on deterring future aggression. This new security landscape includes NATO's expanding role in the region, bilateral security agreements with major powers, and European-led defense initiatives. The war's brutality has fundamentally shifted Ukraine's stance on neutrality, with a broad consensus emerging that NATO membership is essential to prevent future attacks. However, NATO's position remains varied, with the Baltic states, France and Poland expressing strong support for Ukraine's membership, while the US and Germany take a more cautious approach, and countries like Hungary and Slovakia oppose it. The economic foundation for these security measures is substantial. The World Bank has already mobilized approximately $38 billion in emergency financing, commitments and pledges, with significant contributions from the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, European countries, and Japan. A particularly promising development is the establishment of the Ukraine Relief, Recovery, Reconstruction, and Reform Trust Fund, URTF, a flexible facility designed to sustain Ukraine's administrative capacity while implementing its recovery agenda. The URTF prioritizes repairing damaged infrastructure, restoring public services, supporting healthcare, rebuilding energy systems, improving logistics, revitalizing agriculture, and reconstructing housing. These economic and security arrangements are likely to play a critical role in ensuring Ukraine's long-term stability. The post-war period will require a careful balance between addressing immediate reconstruction needs and laying the groundwork for sustained recovery and security. The World Bank's assessments indicate that Ukraine will need to tackle several key challenges in the months following peace, including managing inflation, maintaining macro-financial stability, and restoring critical infrastructure to support economic activity. This balance will be essential to achieving both stability and growth as Ukraine transitions from conflict to recovery. Trump's peace plan represents a pivotal moment that could reshape Eastern European geopolitics. We've examined how Russia's mounting economic pressures, military technology gaps, and internal political strains create perfect conditions for a negotiated settlement. Putin's weakening grip on power, combined with growing oligarch discontent and military leadership challenges, suggests unprecedented receptiveness to peace talks. Russia stands to gain substantial benefits from accepting this peace initiative, including sanctions relief and economic recovery opportunities. China's careful recalibration of its position adds another layer of complexity, potentially supporting a swift resolution that protects its economic interests in both countries. Post-war dynamics point toward a transformed security architecture, with NATO and European partners taking greater responsibility for regional stability. Massive reconstruction efforts, backed by international financial commitments and new economic partnerships, will likely cement these changes. Trump's approach could achieve what years of military pressure and sanctions couldn't: a sustainable peace agreement that addresses core security concerns while offering Russia a strategic exit. Success depends on careful timing and skillful diplomatic maneuvering, but we believe the foundations for lasting peace are stronger than ever. What do you think about Donald Trump's strategy, and do you think he will succeed in ending the ongoing armed conflicts as he claims? Share your opinion in the comment section of the video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next videos.